Hey y'all, it's your girl Millie Chan, and I feel like we need to switch gears. We need to change the scenery. And here it is. This is Gail Lewis. As beautiful as she is, Gail is a real housewife of Atlanta. I'm talking about having worked, husband, president, financial president of a company like Birkins. And she has very affluent friends. But she has a story to tell. Let's get into it. So Gail has taken to TikTok and she is telling her story. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you hear her so you can hear her voice and get her temperament, and then we're going to go from there. Hold on.
I'm a nice person. I'm a sweet person. I'll do anything for my family and my friends. And I'll help anybody out. Try to stay in my own lane. I try not to bother anyone or do any of that. But when people play in my face and plot and plan and do foul stuff, I'm not so nice anymore.
And so she goes on to say that October 29th, 2022, her husband was at a speaking engagement in Europe, right? And so she knew that he was coming home from the speaking engagement and she wanted to have dinner ready for him. So she called the airport to check to see when the flight was coming in. So she's talking to the representative on the phone and she's like, here's the flight number. He was like, what's the name? She was like, you really don't need the name. You can just have the flight number. So he asked for the name. She gave him the name and he said, oh, he and she have gotten in already. She was like, I didn't ask you about she. I'm asking you about he. He was like, well, he and she have already landed. So she was like, what? And then she's like, he called. He was like, oh, I cannot wait to see you. This was the hardest money I had to make. I wish that you were there, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay. Child, so, she said she greeted him. They eat dinner. So while they're eating, she was like, when I called to see when your flight was getting in, the attendant told me that this person was on your itinerary. He was like, I don't know who that is. She was like, well, why would they say that? He was like, I don't know who that is. So then she was like, she was just really thinking about it and it didn't sit right with her. So she was like, he goes to bed, he's snoring, she's tossing and turning, and something tells her when she gets up to look at that American Express bill when she gets up in the morning. So child, she gets up the next day, goes to church, gets home. So she says, let me check this bill. He had said he had to go because he had to go to work. So she's checking the bill. She said, her name was all up and down the statement. Flights to Paris, Delta flights, flights to different countries, here and there, right? And she said she had to get ready to go to a Falcons game with her girls, and she was trying to figure out how she was going to do it. But hold on one second. Child, she said for 10 months, this woman's name was up and down the bills because he would tell her that she couldn't travel with him because of work. But she realized he had a travel companion. Let's keep going. So she was like, she was going through these statements and she called him. He said he was at his boy's house to watch the game. He didn't answer. She called his friend. He didn't answer. So then he finally calls and she was like, why is this woman's name up and down your statements? She said he got mad. He was like, I'm on my way home. He gets home. She said he coming in here like Billy Bad, you know what? Talking about, so why you keep asking me about this girl? She was like, because she up and down these statements. And then she was like, look, tell me the truth. Hold on.
And know that I know the truth. Don't lie to me. And it was like this mask fell off of him. And he sat down in his chair and he was like, yeah, she was with me. And I was like, okay. I said, so that's your girlfriend? He was like, yeah. I said, well, how long you been with her? He said a couple of years.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, okay. So by this time, I can't hold it together.
Child, she had gone upstairs. Her blood pressure had gone up to 130 over 110. She was about to stroke out. Then she said what really hurt her really bad is because he came to her and he was like, you know what? I'm sorry that I hurt you, but at least I don't have to lie no more. That's what he said to her. Then she was like, she got to get ready to go to the hospital. He did not drive her to the hospital. He offered, but she told him no. And she went to the hospital. She stayed at the hospital for 2 hours. She came home. He was sitting on the couch eating Cheetos while his wife was about to stroke out. And then he asked, like, what did they say? She was like, they told me to take this medicine and lay down and call my doctor tomorrow. So that's what she did. So she says he's going on by his day, like just enjoying himself because what she said was his burdens is light, right? Hers are heavy at this point. So then she has a moment where she blames herself. So let's get into that.
I don't know what happened last night, and I was like, I don't know what I've done wrong, because by this time I'm blaming myself. I was like, I know I'm getting older, but I try to keep myself up. I try to look nice, do whatever I can as a wife. I was like, I've tried my best, so I don't even know what I could have done or what I can do. So I'm taking the blame. And he was like, oh, it's not you. Like, it's not you. So, but I'm like, no, like, it's got to be me. He was like, no, you're a good wife. You've been a really good wife. So I was like, well, I'll tell you what. I was like, I'm confused here. I say, so what we need to do, I was like, I think we need to sell the house. Let's move away, try to start over. You go to counseling. I go to counseling. We do some counseling, and we start over. So he was kind of like real smug with it, like, well, if that's what you want, like, yeah, we can do that. Ooh. So I was like, well, what about her? Are you going to stop seeing her? So he paused for like 20 seconds and kind of tilted his head to the side. He was like, I ain't going to tell you I'm going to stop seeing her. Ooh. And I was like, then you want a divorce. He was like, oh, I don't want a divorce. He was like, I ain't going to let nobody fuck up my money.
Child, what? So, child, she goes to Instagram and she finds Sabrina. And this is Sabrina. And she is devastated because she sees Sabrina and she's like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. She's younger. This is what my husband wanted. He doesn't want me because this is what he wants. So she said later that day, her friends called. She couldn't hide it. So she told them what was going on. They were both speechless. And then eventually, some of her friends invited her out to dinner. I don't know why, but I feel like this is the dinner, right? So she said that she was telling them, y'all, she's so beautiful. And they was like, girl, she ain't that pretty. That's filters and surgery. She was like, no, she's really beautiful. She said, at least they don't have any pictures on Instagram. And her friend said, well, you know what? That's why we're here. We want to talk to you about that. She was devastated. Child, she said when they told her about this photo, because this is Harold. This is her husband or ex-husband or soon-to-be. She said they were at Papa Do's and the food had come out. She said she was so distraught. She couldn't even put her hands together to pray. She said while they were praying over the food, all she could do was hold her head down and cry. Because now, not only does she know that there is another woman, now her friends know, now Instagram knows about Sabrina and Harold. So Gail said when she got home, he was gone, right? She said she thinks he had taken a trip or something. But then he gets home and he tells her, I think you, Gail, need a 3 to 6 month break. So I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to leave for 3 to 6 months. And I feel like you need a break. She was like, I need a break. He said yes. And she said to add insult to injury. He told her, if you find someone else in that 3 to 6 months, I understand. So at that moment, she was like, this man don't care nothing about me. He don't love me. He don't care nothing about our marriage. He don't care. So I'm filing for divorce. And baby, she gonna be all right. Harold is the financial president at BSI. Whatever BSI is, he is the financial president, COO. Our girl Gail is a real housewife. So she was saying that he had women serving her, had people at their house with their feet under the table, women he was sleeping with. But I'm going to let her tell you about this Atlanta airport situation. Hold on.
So, to the airport video, yeah, I was shocked. I was dismayed because that was my first time seeing them. I knew eventually that I would see them out somewhere. It's Atlanta, and hey, it's a small town. So, it's a big town, but it's a small town too. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try my best to be classy and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes that just don't work. Because when you go in a gutter, when people go gutter with you, and I have to apologize to Michelle Obama. Girl, when you said that, when they go low, we go high, that ain't my motto. Because when they go low, I go lower. I go gutter. I'm going.
So I don't know where this situation is, but when I find out, I'll let y'all know. It's your girl Millie Chun. Bye.